everywhere.
As hemp gained mainstream acceptance in the 90s, so did Jack. His critics became allies.
When Steve Hager became editor of High Times in the late 80s, and he went ahead and just wrote column after column, article after article, month after month in his magazine. And that's really what exploded the idea of hemp, more to the colleges, more to everybody that picked up a High Times now read about hemp.
In 1994, he was honored by the conservative Drug Policy Foundation in Washington.
With his efforts for showing the impact one individual can have on the lives of many others, Jack Herer is awarded the 1994 Robert C. Randall Award for achievement in the field of citizen action.
At the awards dinner, the emperor wore a hemp suit.
Leaning on a tree trunk, thinking all the same junk, falling in and out of a dream. Back and forth I'm swaying, I'm contemplating staying, laying and...
But nothing vindicated Jack more than a 1992 Lifetime Achievement Award from his longtime adversary, Normal.
How do I calm myself at times like these? I need a simple kind of lovely, and the thought is just a novelty.
From a nemesis to a prophet, I think is the way to look at it. He was a bother and troublesome until we came to realize he had really discovered very important aspect of why it is that marijuana should be reconsidered and why the illegality of it is so preposterous and unfair.
I think that Jack's place in the history of anti-prohibition movement is going to be secured by the simple fact that he, despite everybody's criticisms, everybody thinking he was crazy, that he had the persistence and the temerity to simply keep going on and saying the truth over and over and over again, no matter, it sometimes seems like you have to say the truth many times before anybody hears it.
The Emperor Wears No Clothes is a book that's had an enormous impact in this country on awakening millions of Americans to the fact that the marijuana laws are wrong, that they're based on false premises, that they're racial in nature, and that we need to change them. I don't know anyone who's had as much impact as Jack has.
Not another medicine, not another drug on this planet that nobody has ever died from. Nobody has ever died from marijuana that wasn't shot by a cop.
Jack Herer. Have I pronounced it correctly, Jack? Herer. Herer. Okay. Jack Herer.
Jack Herer.
Jack Herer. Jack Herer.
Mr. Jack Herer. We're going to put on Jack Herer.
Hemp.
Once you get the name, tell me a story about this lovely girl whose name was Jane.
Cult acclaim has not made Jack a household name, nor does he live like an emperor. Most of his income from book sales goes to finance his causes, not his lifestyle.
Hemp.
When he's not on the road for weeks at a time campaigning for hemp and medical marijuana, Jack lives and works in this small, cramped apartment in Van Nuys, California.
There he is, singer.
Jack is a cultural icon. He is probably as well known as anyone who's ever had an opinion to offer on this subject. He is better known than probably anyone else who works on the marijuana law reform issue. He is a phenomenon that's been very positive.
Uneasy rests the crown on he who would save the world. Jack enters the new millennium still grieving over the untimely death of Captain Ed Adair, taken by leukemia in 1991 at the age of 51.
We have been together 19 years, the greatest friend a guy could ever have. He worked so hard to save this planet, and he believed he was saving it for you, me, his children, and he thought that this was the way to do it.
And it's against the law, the federal law, and it's a stupid law, it's an ignorant law, and it's an evil law, because they know better, and they won't get off of it.
Captain Ed and I planned was to get out and teach this information. Eventually we would get a cadre of believers, and eventually they would go out and teach the world. And now we know that we've succeeded.
And now we understand so much about the man. He's not insane, he is not crazy. He's not the devil in disguise. So listen closely to the winds of change and see the world, see the world, oh, see the world through his eyes.
Despite some health problems, Jack has no plans to kick back and take it easy with longtime companion Jeannie Hawkins. With the publishing of the 11th edition of The Emperor Wears No Clothes in late 1998, Jack's schedule is more hectic than ever, taking him and his message around the world. Jack is haunted, however, by the hard, cold facts of prohibition. Despite its undeniable potential as the natural, renewable alternative to a synthetic world, the hemp plant, by federal law, still cannot be cultivated in the United States. Despite increasing public and scientific support, the medical use of marijuana still remains illegal. And despite the enormous cost in money and human lives, millions of people are still being arrested for possessing a therapeutic substance revered by our ancestors. This is the reality of America's war on a plant. A war born of commerce and greed. An endless war. And so, the fight goes on. And on.
I don't know if hemp's going to save the world, but I'll tell you this. It's the only thing that can.